Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me today. If you are coming back, thanks for coming back to see me again. If you're new, welcome, welcome. Today is something a little special, a little bit different. I am participating in Fodder School this year, which is a year-long set of courses, sessions with mixed media artists. And it's all about making fodder, so components that you would use in mixed media, and then projects to use them up. And it kicked off in November. Yes, November. And I have been having an absolute blast. And we're doing a Fodder School Hop. So a lot of different people are showing off things that they've done so far in the in Fodder School. Oh, let me get these out of the way. They are not related. And I have a big mess of stuff on my desk because I thought that would probably be the easiest thing in the process of just sort of showing you the cornucopia of cool things we've been doing. So allow me to move some things aside and then bring them back so I can show them to you properly. I'm going to start with my Fodder School notebook. One of the things that they typically recommend is having a notebook where you can keep sort of a record of things you're doing, tips, notes about certain processes you use to complete the activities. And I'm wiping cat hair off of mine. Everything I make includes cat hair, and I do believe that that is the magic dust. So I took a notebook I had purchased. It's this really cool notebook. It's got just like different types of grids and graphs and lines, and I just find that visually interesting and sort of inspiring. So like I do with any existing notebook, if I am preparing it to use as some sort of art journal, I do remove pages so that it, as it grows and bulks out with all of the good stuff, it doesn't become this monstrous beast, which it already is. It doesn't, it's not closed evenly already, and I am through very little. So I covered it with this wonderful fabric that I purchased. It's a Ruby Star Society quilting fabric print, and Tara Lee Quiltery dyed some of the fabric and then sold it, and I bought that, and I'd been saving it for something special, and I just love this fabric so much. So every time I pull this notebook out, I get excited, and that helps me get into the zone and get motivated for the Fodder School projects. So prior to Fodder School starting in November, there was the Fodder Challenge, and I did not know about it and did not start participating until mid-November. I think that's when I signed up. So I missed the Fodder Challenge that everybody else did to kick off. I don't have a lot to show for it as a result, but I do have a few really cool things, and I'm still working through the other projects. So that's one of the things, that there's just like a lot of content to get through, which is awesome, because you want to have a lot of ideas and projects and fun things to do. These are let me move these guys out. These little hands, these folk art hands, were one of the projects. We're supposed to doodle and decorate them. I have not yet been able to bring myself to do that. I just cut a bunch of hands out of some paper that I painted, and it looks like I primarily used neon watercolor and pigment powders. The pigment powders are an obsession of mine. So that, I believe, is how I made my little hands, and I will one day go back and doodle them. I do that a lot. I don't know about the rest of you. I will start something and get it to a place that makes me really happy. And then I won't know yet what I want to do with it. So rather than trying to force myself to finish it before I'm actually ready, I just take it and set it aside. And then when I get it back out again, if it calls to me and I have sort of an urge to do something else to it, that is when I will start to work on it again. And so that's where my little Hamzas are. These bigger ones were cut out of a variety of different papers that I already had made. That is not one of them. So that was one of the challenges, and I haven't even finished everything. You're gonna have to listen to me while Sassy's in the shot here, because she's in a very crazy, needy mood right now. And she's an art cat, so she appreciates all of the stuff we do. One of the other challenges were these really pretty zinnias that I made a bunch of. This one's sort of follows the instructions. I kind of did my own thing with a lot of these. And yes, I do store a lot of my fodder and a lot of collage pieces in clear baggies, just so that when I have a mound of small pieces, I can find what I'm looking for a little bit more easily. I am really organized in some ways and really unorganized in others, and this is one of the ways that I try to be organized because it makes it easier for me to use my stuff. So yeah, I colored in all of these little zinnias from that lesson, and I just love them. So very excited to use those in an upcoming project. And then another one of the challenges, and I'll admit this is probably my favorite, are these little wabi-sabi boxes. And I have been giving some of these away as gifts. Yeah, this is probably my favorite project that I've done in a long, long time. And I keep meaning to go back and make even more because they're quick and easy, and I just love the results so much. So those little boxes are great. Jane Chipp showed us how to make these little lace printed medallions, and they turned out so pretty. So these are another, sometimes I hoard things when I don't have a lot of them, and that's kind of what I've been doing with these, which generally is a sign to me to go make a bunch more. See, this one's so cool. I don't know how easily you can see it. The design is really subtle. It's these teeny tiny little flowers and little dots, but up close, it's just super interesting, and I like it because since it is so subtle, you sort of get invited in for a closer look. So yeah, I love these little medallions, and I think I just need to make a bunch so that I can start using them. If you've been viewing my channel for a little while, you probably know I really enjoy junk journaling as well. And I think these are just super awesome pieces to use in a junk journal. Yeah, it was just such a fun project. So I've got my little medallions there. I think that's it for the challenge projects. So let me actually show you my little notebook here. I did decorate on the inside. I cut and prepped a bunch of tabs for the pages. And so I've been storing them in this little paper pocket thing in the big pocket. And then I will put my little tabs there at the top, and it makes it easy to find what I'm looking for. And the first thing that I did as I was getting things kicked off was come up with a color palette for myself to use. So, you know, just so that most of these projects, you'll see not all of them, but most of the projects, I try to use this as my guiding palette so that things do work together pretty well, especially when I'm doing things like making papers. I don't fully limit myself. If I'm inspired to use another paper, I will, or another color, excuse me, I will. So these three here, this turquoise is teal. It's kind of my go-to color most of the time. It's a good anchor for me, and I will often pair it with either a pink magenta kind of a color or an orange apricot kind of a color. And so this is just different paints I have that work in my color palette that I've swatched onto some book pages, so that I can reference what fits in my palette. And I even made up a small palette of my watercolors that fit this, because I really love to work with watercolor. So it's nice when I don't know what colors to use for something I'm watercoloring. I'll just grab that out and use it as my default. And then these are sort of my secondary pieces that I can pull in as I work. So golden nickel azo gold. It used to be, quin gold, I think. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. It's a renowned color, and they did have to change the formula, and I still love the new formula, frankly. Oh yeah, and there is the Holbein acrylic ink, sort of equivalent of that color. So neutral browns that I extend to this azo gold, which, you know, sort of then correlates a bit to the orange. So yeah, I've got those kinds of colors, and more neutrals over here. Antelope brown, raw umber, those are my go-tos. And then some Payne's gray, muted gray. And then when I want to pull in yellow or green, I do the green gold. I'm not really a yellow fan, but I do like the sort of lift and lightness it brings. So I will pull in colors like the azo gold or the green gold when I want that. And that really works for me. So limited color palette there. And then the first project we started was this fodder decks. And one of the really cool things about the project was that there were a whole bunch of different ways that you could make your box, or buy a box to decorate, or repurpose an old Rolodex. But it is that sort of Rolodex concept that we have here. And then we worked on a variety of different types of cards. So I think this is my window card. Yes. And we did this one with some really fun flower cutouts. It was so entertaining. And then sewing onto it, embroidering onto it. And so I love the opportunity to be able to decorate both the front and back. And then we made these little envelopes, and I kind of got obsessed with the envelopes, because then I was like, I can put stuff in the envelopes like fodder from other projects. And then I didn't do that. I need to come back and add more cards and fill this guy up even more. I'll admit I had to put it outside of my craft art space for a while, because it is big and I didn't really have a good spot for it. I've been able to rearrange my room and move things in so that I can work with it even more, because it's just so exciting and fun. So this is sort of like, we did a specimen card, and I do a lot of those for junk journaling. So I took the opportunity to do something a little bit different and use these wooden frames and paint them and make this little butterfly frame. More envelopes. This project with tea bags was awesome. I already collect a lot of tea bags, and I store them differently than we did in the project, but I managed to still put it together and use it in a really cool way. It's awesome. And again, lots of envelopes, because I really liked making the envelopes. And I really want to go back and fill them up with some cool stuff. This was the shaker card, so there's like confetti in there if I pick this up and shake it. That was a lot of fun to make. And then this is one of our vellum cards, where we did some techniques on vellum to create some really cool cards. And I'm trying to be careful and not give away all of the secrets for how we do this stuff. But I want to talk about it because I just find the process of creating all these things so interesting. I did use this envelope to store things because I have a bunch of the little pieces that you use in the box cut and ready to go for when I make more cards. But this is just 1 month's project and infinite ways, infinite ideas to use it. Super cool. So in addition to making this, I had a lot of notes for myself in the journal, including yet another one of those envelopes that I love. This is where I was playing around with some new paints that I was testing out and getting ready for the December project. So it was just a fun way for me to stencil and try a couple of different things. And I actually really love this page and how it turned out. This is more of the Hamzas. I was like testing out how I wanted to trace them and practicing a few of the evil eye doodles, and that was really cool. And then this is some of my finished work from the December project. Most people did these on mini chunky canvases, which was really cool. And then it was a good idea for gifts since it overlapped with the Christmas holiday. I just really liked doing these in a series on watercolor paper that I then was able to glue into my book. I will probably continue to go back and do even more of these. Sorry, something grabbed on. I do usually wax my pieces before I put them in my journal, and it feels like I did here too, so that the pages wouldn't stick. Oh, I know what it is. I was trying a specific type of paper, and it does not really work well in terms of gluing it down. So yeah, these papers, the papers we made for these, I have stacks and stacks and stacks of papers that I made for these different paintings and collages. And I will be using those forever and making more and more of them. They were so much fun to play with. And so it was really just a fun opportunity to play with composition for all of those different papers. And I just love how all of this turned out. And this is where I started doing Wanderlust, which is a different set of courses, videos. And at that point I thought I'd just start putting all of my like art lessons into the same notebook. And then here we have January. January was awesome. So we did, Jane Chipp walked us through a process for choosing and working with a variety of photos, whether they are photos of people we know or not, printouts, other things like that, and lace, different ways to use lace in art to create interesting backgrounds. And so I just had fun collaging some of the pieces I made from this. This is another one where I have so many papers that I will continue to use. And then the goal was to create this little box full of altered photos. And I did do the altered photos, but in the process, because I like, sorry for that clink, because I really like making little books, and because the container I chose was really deep on each side, and I felt like things were just going to kind of slosh around in there, I ended up making a little journal. So, yeah, this was just so cool to do. So I do have some of the altered photos pinned in here, and then this little section holds my journal, and then this is the little journal I made, and just like a quick flip through. There's a little earring dangle. And this gave me the opportunity to not just feature the altered photos I did, but also a lot of the papers that I really, really loved making. This is just a coffee filter, but I love the way it turned out. So being able to, you know, not tear that up and feature it as sort of a complete item in this journal was really cool. So I just had a ball making this. I'm already chatting with a friend of mine who I may work with to do something like this with some of her family photos. Most likely we will scan and copy those photos and then print them on some high quality photo paper and then use it in a project like this. But just, I never ever would have made this without Jane Chipp's lesson, and it is truly one of my favorite things I've ever made at all. So that's been really super exciting. I'm not an ASMR person, but I do love the sounds different papers make. So if you love those sounds too, you're welcome. And if you hate them, I'm sorry. But I just had to. Oh, and one of the other things I love about this is just so much texture. It's just texture on texture on texture, different papers, fleeces, burlap, you know, stamps, transparent layers, and I just really, yeah, can't get enough of this. Such a fun project. Frankly, kind of worth the price of admission all by itself. And that's saying a lot because I love all of the projects so much. So I'll move my little jewelry box away. And then we did our swap in the following month. And this was an opportunity to create these wonderful little cards. The lessons featured birds. We didn't have to use birds, but I love a bird. Like, I love a bird. Like, I have a lot of bird books and a lot of bird images. And if I had the patience, I would be a birder. But I'm not. I'm definitely not. But I love birds. So anything that gives me an opportunity to really feature a bird in my work is just gonna make me super happy. So these are two of the ones that I really loved. We swapped these with each other. So I actually have this little, let me reach over here and grab it. This little mountain of cards from other people and other like fodder goodies as a result. I kept back some of my favorites, and then the others I've been sending out. And this is another one that I did for that I really loved. I started doing the 100 Days project February 22nd. So that's in here. That's what this tracker is for. I am mostly sort of keeping up with it, kind of. And then this is the final project as of when making this video. So there's still more to come, but just the first several projects of the year. And we did most people did split heads, human heads. I really like to draw hairs and paint hairs like jackrabbits. So I did hairs. And I have a whole bunch more to make. As you can see, this one's in progress. And then these are my two finished ones besides the one in the notebook, which I just finished recently. So these are two of my other finished guys. And they are just really cool. And it's a really interesting way to think about collage and mixing things up. That again, like I wouldn't have ever tried something like this, but it's created a whole bunch of different ideas for me as a result. And I didn't realize in this until after I did it. So the project was split heads, but instead of doing human heads, I did hairs, which technically means I'm splitting hairs. Sorry, not sorry. I'm splitting hairs. Anyway, that's just a handful. Again, there are several challenge projects I still haven't actually gotten to make yet. I've watched the videos, so I kind of get a sense of them, but I haven't had a chance to go back and actually create those different things. I'm really looking forward to it. There's a cool bookmark. There's some really interesting mid-century style tags that we're working on, different things like that. And we have a whole new project coming up again starting this April. I'm filming this a little bit early so that it can be part of the hop, the official hop. So for me, it is still late March, but when you see this, I will already be heads down working on the fodder for the project for April. If you are excited about any of these things and you want to get in on the action and make hairs and medallions and really awesome boxes and altered photos and little zinnias and hamzas and swap work with people and make bird or not bird postcards or really cool fodder decks with way too many envelopes, and please do check out Fodder School. I can say without a doubt the amount of content that's provided and the way that the instructors share and interact is really unreal to me. And it definitely really, I'm not good with words most days, but apparently, especially today, it really gives me a chance to explore my creativity in new ways. And in most cases, whatever I'm following along and doing, it will open up new ideas for me beyond the project itself that get me really excited and working on all kinds of new things. And again, if you've been watching my channel for a while, there are a lot of times where I'll start by mentioning I was doing this thing for Fodder School and then this happened. You know, I ended up painting gel plate papers in a new way. I ended up, you know, creating translucent papers in a new way. I ended up repurposing something, you know, to make a 3D little box. Actually, making 3D things has been one of the things that I have found myself engaging with more and more as a result of this, and that has really opened up my brain to a whole new different way of making. So if that sounds cool to you and you like what I've done here and you want to be doing a lot of the same stuff, you should definitely check out Fodder School. I would appreciate if you'd give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And if you hit the little bell, you can get notified of every video I do from here on out. But more than anything, just thank you for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you again soon.